Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। So we are seeing the 29th shloka. Yeah. Last time we just started seeing that. Swabodha nanya bodhecha bodha rupatayatmanah na deepasya anya deepecha yatha swatma prakashane. What the shloka said, Adi Shankara said. So, to know the Atma, to illumine the Atma, there is no other light that is required because Atma is Swaprakasha. That is what it is said here. And this is what we have been seeing the previous shloka also. And we were discussing a particular aspect which we had touched upon in the introductory talks to Atma Bodha. While understanding what is meant by Atma Bodha, while trying to arrive at the meaning of this word Atma Bodha. Because Atma Bodha itself appears to be self-contradictory. Atma itself means knowledge. Bodha also means knowledge. All that we have seen. So that at that time we said that Atma, the knowledge of this Atma can take place only in the mind, in the buddhi, that is the antakarana. And because of that, a vritti jnanam is required. Now, this sloka seems to be suggesting that since Atma is Swaprakasha, there is no need for vritti jnana. So, apparently there is a contradiction. If we remember what we discussed earlier, there is a contradiction. But if we don't remember, then there is no contradiction. We are very happy to say, okay, vritti jnanam is not required. Okay. But assuming that we remember what we saw earlier, we just will revise our learning and what we learned earlier. Okay. Actually speaking, there is no contradiction. This is what is the problem with Vedanta. Many times looks like there is a contradiction, but when we go little deep into what is being said, we will realize that there is no contradiction and all statements are very easily reconcilable. Okay. So we said at that time that vritti jnanam is required. We require the mind and the intellect, etc. And this is what is the difference we drew from Yoga Shastra. Because in Yoga Shastra, they talk about going beyond the mind. In Samadhi Sthiti, they talk about mano nirodha, that is completely neutralizing even the activity of the mind. And as we have been discussing, that is the essential difference we have with the Yoga Shastra. We don't talk about nirodha of the mind. We say that for Atma Jnanam, mind is very much necessary. So their meditation is where the mind is totally, you are beyond the mind. And our meditation, Nididhyasanam, is mind is required for the Nididhyasanam, for the meditation. That is the essential difference between us and the Yoga Shastra people. Anyhow, let that be like that. So here we have to understand that when we say the mind is required or the Vritti Jnanam is required for Atma Bodha, we don't say for gaining the knowledge of Atma, mind is required. Because our assumption is there is nothing called gaining the knowledge of Atma. Because we already know the Atma. Whenever I say I am referring to that Atma only, that Chit only, that consciousness only, that existence principle only I am referring to. So it is not that I am not aware of that I am Atma or my true nature. It is not that I am not aware of. Then why do you, if you are already aware, then why do you require the mind? Question. We require the mind because this awareness is clouded by ajnana. For removing that ajnanam, we require this mind, this vritti jnana. That is what is the difference. This is how we have to understand. So, ajnana nivrityartham vritti jnanam avashyakam. That's what we say. Okay. So, the entity, because there is no other entity other than Brahman. That is, we have been seeing it through. There is only one entity, which is Brahman. One Satyam, right? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. In Tattva Bodha also we saw that. So, Atmanah Brahmatva Vishaya Ajnana Nivrityartham Vritti Jnana. That is what we require. Now let us take an example. This example Swami Paramathananda quotes. He says the sun is there, right? We are able to see the sun very clearly. But we don't know that this is sun. We know that there is something, but we don't know it is sun. It is called sun. We don't know that. Now, the experience of the sun is not lacking in us because we are experiencing the sun, we are seeing the sun. But what is lacking is the knowledge that this is the sun. That is lacking. Therefore, what is the problem? Ignorance that this is the sun is the problem. So what we have to do? We have to gain the knowledge that this is the sun. This luminous body, which we are experiencing all the time, is the sun. This is the knowledge that we have to gain. And afterwards, once we gain that knowledge, do we actually require the sun experience again and again? No, once we know it is the sun all the time. What was required was our ignorance that this is the sun. Once we gain the knowledge that this is the sun, that ignorance goes away. Once the ignorance goes away, the moment somebody says this is called sun, That is enough for us. Thereafterwards, we don't require the sun experience as an event, because the sun experience has always been there. Similarly, we are experiencing the Atma, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Every thought, every moment we are experiencing the Atma. No experience is possible without the Atma or Brahman. But we do not know that that experience actually is the experience of Atma. Comes the Upanishads and the Guru say that, hey Manava, this what you are experiencing is what is Atma experience. Once you understand that every experience is the experience of Atma, once that ignorance has gone away, ignorance that every experience is the experience of Atma gone away, then you don't need a fresh vritti jnanam to experience the Atma. And you know that every experience is Atma's experience. That is what he is saying here. Swaprakashane has to be understood like this. You don't need a vritti jnanam to know the Atma, but you need a vritti jnanam to remove the ignorance of the Atma. Ignorance of the knowledge of Atma. Right? So, Atma is always an anubhuta vishaya. Atma anubhuti is not required, because it is nitya upalabdha swarupa vishaya. It is always available, every moment, in any avastha, it is that experience is available. But we do not know that this Atma is that Brahman. We know Atma is Aham, because whenever we say Aham, 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 we know that we are referring to the Atma. But what we do not know is that this Atma is that Brahman. That is the ignorance, ajnana, which is clouding us. Therefore, once the introduction is done, that the Brahman that you are looking for is this very same self-effulgent Atma. For knowing that we require vritti jnanam. But once we have come to know that Aham Brahmasmi, there is no vritti jnanam every time required to know that I am Brahmasmi. Right? So, vritti jnanam doesn't illumine the Atma. Aham Brahmasmi is not for knowing Brahman, because it is all the time illumined. Brahman is all the time Swaprakasha. Aham Brahmasmi removes the ignorance that I am different from that Brahman. That is what it is. So, whether vritti jnanam is necessary or not, we can answer that question in two ways. It is necessary for ajnana nivritti, but it is not necessary for knowing that I am Brahmasmi. That is what it is. So, mind is necessary, pramanam is necessary, guru is necessary, everything is necessary. Sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is necessary. For what? For this ajnana nivrityartham. Sarva ajnana nivrityartham kinjidabi na atma prakashanartham. That is why vritti jnanam is required. Right? Why? Because atma prakasham sarvada, atma prakasham sarvada vartate, always shining. So this is the meaning of this sloka. This is the message given in this sloka. Now let us go to sloka number 30. Nishidya nikilopadhin neti neti vakyatah vidyadaikyam mahavakyaihi jivatma paramatmanoh. till the last sloka, almost I think from the I think for quite some time we have been talking about this, isn't it? Doesn't matter, I think probably 14, 15. Bapustadivi, yes, correct. So from that sloka onwards, right, the pounding has been going on. We have been Atma, Anatma, Vivekam is what we have been seeing from the 16th sloka till 29th, almost 15 slokas or 14 slokas. We have seen. That alone we call technically Tvam Pada Vichara. Because you know, as you saw in Tattva Bodha, there are three aspects. Tvam Pada Vichara hai, Tat Pada Vichara hai, and Aikya Vichara hai. This is what is all the Vichara of Vedanta. So Tvam Pada Vichara we have done. Earlier we did also Tatpada Vichara in terms of Karana, Brahman Karanam and Jagat Karya. But is that enough? We have done two Vicharas. That is not enough. That is what Adi Shankara is now trying to emphasize. That is not enough because you know what is Tat. You know what is Tvam. Now what is required is the equal to sign Tat Tvam Asi. That is required. That knowledge is required. Then only we can call it Advaita. If you know what is Tat and if you know what is Tvam, still you are in Dvaita Prapancha only. There are two things, Tat and Tvam is there. Only when you understand the Aikyam that Tat is equal to Tvam, the grand equation as Pujya Swamiji calls, then that is the Advaita Vedanta. You know Aham, you know Brahman. Till you know Aham Brahmasmi, you are not into Advaita. You are still into Dvaitam. So that is what Adi Shankara is now starting the process of Aikya Vichara. Right? With this. And what he says, it is to be that through the Mahavakya Vichara, this Aikya Vichara has to be pursued. Right? So what we have seen in the Tattvamasi Mahavakyam, that Tvam Pada Vichara we have seen. Stula Sukshma Karana Shariram or Anatma. These Anatmas are Sagunam. I am Nirgunam. Anatmas are Savikaram. I am Nirvikaram. Anatmas are Savikalpakam. I am Nirvikalpaha. Anatmas are Jadam. I am Swayam Prakasha Chetana Rupaha. This is what we have understood till now. There are two different entities. Atma is not Anatma, Anatma is not Atma. They are separate from each other. This much we have seen by all this pounding business. Right? So as I said, Vedanta says this is very good. You have made a very good progress. But this is not the end. Still you have to go one more mile rather to come to the end. He says this is only the first phase of the Vedantic inquiry. Tvam Pada Vichara alone is over. What is now to come is Tatpada Aikyam. So the second phase is necessary. So as I said, it is not enough for us to know that I am different from this body, that I am Chaitanya. Because now I have done Atma Anatma Vivekam. I know that I am the subject different from the object. I am consciousness and everything else is inert matter. I am the illuminator and everything else is the illumined. So Dvaitam is still there. In fact, Dvaitam is there in the form that I know I am one, but this Tat is the entire Prapancha. So many things are there. That seems to be much, much bigger than what I am. Isn't it? So Atma is one, Anatma is number two. Kshetranya is one, Kshetram is number two. Right? And in fact, the Kshetram seems to be so vast. So we should carefully note that this entire Anatma Prapancha is a superimposition, which idea we have seen earlier, is a Karyam, and I, the Atma, is the Karanam. This we must know where we started off. So we have to go back to the Pratamika Adhyasa, the first Adhyasa, which we discussed. Till now, we have sorted out the secondary Adhyasa. We have to know what the primary Adhyasa is. We already know, but let us remember that this knowledge that through Maya, I, the Atma alone has created this whole universe is the Pratamika Adhyasa, which we don't know. And this is because of what? The Avarana Shakti of Maya has caused this confusion. This knowledge even we have, it is covered with this Avarana Shakti of Maya. So, that confusion is gone now. But we should also know that this Vikshepa Shakti is also born out of this Maya. Therefore, I, the Atma, am a Karanam. And with the help of Maya, I only have created this universe. That we should know. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagarim Tulyam Nijantar Gatam. Those who know Dakshinamurti Stotram will recall this, right? This universe, like every city being seen in a mirror, is within oneself. That is what that sloka says. So, I am knowing that I am the Karanam is called this Brahma Aikya. Because we have seen Brahman is the Karanam and Jagat is the Karyam. Now I need to know that Brahman, which is been stated as the Karanam earlier, that Brahman I am. So once I know that Brahman I am, then I become the Jagat Karan. This entire Jagat I have created with my Maya Shakti. And this is what is Aham Brahmasmi. This is how we have to understand this Mahavakya. Then the question will be, what are you saying? What is the difference? Right? Previously I said I am Atma and everything else is Anatma. Now I am saying that I am Karanam and everything else is Karya. So what is the big difference? There also there was Dvaitam, two things were there. Atma, Anatma. Here also two things are there, Karanam and Karyam. So what is the difference in these two? The difference is Advaita. Because we have seen that Karanam pervades the Karyam. Karyam does not have any independent existence other than the Karanam. The pot does not have any independent existence other than the clay. The ornaments do not have any independent existence other than the gold. Gold alone is the Satyam. The clay alone is the Satyam. The pot, ornaments, etc. are names and form given to that Satyam. So there is only one thing. Only I am there. And I pervade this entire universe. The entire existence of the entire universe is dependent on me. They are mithya. Mithya and Satyam can never be equated. They are just appearance. That's it. They don't exist. If at all you say they exist, that existence has been given to them by me. Aham. Aham, you remember, not this body-mind complex. Never, don't confuse it. If you take Aham as body-mind sense complex, total confusion will be there. Here we are talking about Aham Atma Chaitanyam. Sachidananda Swarupa Aham. That is what we are talking about. So that Aham, I am illuminating this thing, I am pervading this entire Jagat. Other than me, this Jagat has got no existence. Once that understanding comes, that Aikya Jnanam comes, then it is real Advaita. Till such time, you are still in Dvaita Prapancha. Advaitam doesn't come. Okay. And this is very brilliantly brought out by Adi Shankara in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. He says, the sutra itself is a very long sutra, unlike so many other sutras in the Brahma Sutra. It says, Arambanadi Karanam Tadanyatvam Arambana Shabdadibhyaha Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam Mrittika Eva Satyam. This is the sutra. In fact, in Brahma Sutra, this is one of the most important sutra to establish that the entire Upanishads talk about Advaitam only. And who has written the Brahma Sutra? Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa, who has actually studied all the Vedas and he has written all the, made the classification of the Vedas, codification of the Vedas, everything. He writes Brahma Sutra and then through the Brahma Sutra he is conveying what is the exact message of the Vedas, the entire Vedas. And this is what Adi Shankara is trying to establish through the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. He says, I am not saying all these things. Veda Vyasa himself has said in Brahma Sutra this. Vacha Rambanam Vikaro Nama Deyam Mrittika Eva Satyam. Mrittika means what? The clay. That alone is Satyam. So any other matham, any other philosophy which doesn't agree with Advaitam, you can take it for granted. Either they have no knowledge of the Upanishads and Brahma Sutra, or they have knowledge but they refuse to acknowledge. That is what is happening. And that is why Advaita Vedanta makes maximum sense from a point of view of the scriptures. Otherwise, we will never get this knowledge of Advaita Vedanta from any Itihasa, Purana, nowhere. We may get part information from Bhagavad Gita, but again that is mixed up with Dvaitam and Advaitam, all mixed up in Bhagavad Gita, so one is likely to get more confused by reading Bhagavad Gita. Unless one has very clear thought and one guru has taught exactly how to interpret each and every shloka of Bhagavad Gita in the context of whether it is Dvaitam or Visishta Dvaitam or Advaita. Unless that is done, even Bhagavad Gita is not very easy to understand. If you read the whole Gita, you are likely to get little confused. But when you read Brahma Sutra and the Bhashyam, it's very clear what is the message of the Upanishads. Right? So once we know that clay is the Karanam and pot is the Karyam, what is the conclusion? Pots do not have an existence different from the clay. Clay alone is. What we call a pot is nothing but Vacharambanam, Vikaro Nama Deyam. The clay's Vikara is what is called pot. When pot is resolved, it will go back to the clay material only. Isn't it? Similarly, once I know that Chaitanyam is the Karanam and the matter, which is what the entire Prapancha is all about, is the Karyam, the conclusion will be what? This entire Prapancha is Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam. It does not have any existence at all. In fact, there is no matter at all. That is the conclusion we will come to when we understand this relationship as Karanam and Karya. This conclusion we cannot come at if we understand the relationship as Atma and Anatma. So understanding that separation of the Atma and Anatma, and that I am the Atma and everything else is Anatma, is valid up to a particular stage. That is necessary also to first establish this difference. But then the next stage, we have to bring in this Karana Karya relationship between Atma and Anatma and establish that this Anatma has no existence, no independent existence other than the Karanam, that is me. Then only this Aham Brahmasmi will make sense. Otherwise, everybody will question me. How can you say Aham Brahmasmi? I am different, Jagat is different, Ishvara is different. This will continue. Okay. So, even scientists, they talk about consciousness and matter as different things. And according to Vedanta, there is nothing called matter. There is only consciousness. This is where the science and Vedanta differ. Science will also once upon a time come, maybe, if they use the present instruments of inquiry, they will never come to. Why? Because all their inquiries about consciousness and matter are within the framework of time and space limitation. As long as you are within the time and space limitation, you can never reach consciousness. Because consciousness is beyond time and space. That is where our rishis reached. Through what? Through the meditation, through the power of their mind, they reached. They went beyond the time and space paradigm. So these scientists, if they go beyond that science, this time and space paradigm, they will also find that this entire Vedanta conclusion they will come to. Till such time they are doing all their research and search within the paradigm of time and space, they will never be able to reach the conclusion which Vedanta has reached. That is the reason, right? So, our conclusion that there is only Chaitanya is required for establishing Advaita Jnana. That's why it said, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Gita. Everything is Brahman. When we are doing a homa, arpanam, that spoon with which we pour the ghee is Brahman. It says Brahmarpanam. Then the havis we are offering into the fire, that is Brahman. Brahma Havihi. Brahma now, the fire in which you are offering is Brahman. So like that, everything is Brahman. That is how we have to understand this. Brahman is the only karanam in the world. Everything else is vikaro namadeyam. Right? So that is what he is trying to establish here. All this matter which we are experiencing is an aberration. They are just an appearance. Actually, it's an illusion. That's why Maya Kritam. Maya will always create illusions only. It cannot show you the reality. That is the job of Maya, isn't it? So, matter is an error. Matter is what? Mithya. So, if we know the matter is Mithya, what does that matter? Matter doesn't matter. That's all. Okay. But the advantage is that this matter will stop mattering to us. It will stop troubling us. Today, all our problems are because of what? Because of this bhayam. Dvaita bhayam. So many things are there other than me, and they can cause harm to me. If I know that these are all mithya, I will immediately understand they can never do any harm to me. Whether it is the planets, I won't take my horoscope and rush to a Josian. Oh, see what this planet, something is going to Guru Payarchi, Shani Payarchi, and all is happening. So, what is it going to have effect on me? I won't do that. I know that Guru, Shani are all Mithya. I have created that Guru and Shani. So, what they can do to me? This is the highest knowledge of Vedanta. That is where we have to understand, we have to reach. It's difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to digest this knowledge. Because why? Orientation, Janma after Janma, we have been told that all this is real. And suddenly in one Janma, that too towards our end of our life, say, when we become senior citizens, somebody comes around and tells us, all this you have been believing through all is all nonsense. Actually, there is nothing other than you in this world. Is it easy to digest? It is very easy to say that, well, there's something wrong with this fellow. Isn't it? Next time he comes around, we will avoid him. Because he is giving all sorts of confusing messages to me. I don't want to talk to him. That's what our response will be, right? So, as I said, once we understand that there is nothing other than me, I am the Jagat Karanam, and Jagat is Karyam, and with my Maya Shakti, Mama Maya Duratyaya, I have created this entire Jagat. I have created this entire world. They all exist in me. The whole Jagat exists in me. Once you understand, then what happens? We are not frightened of anything. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Aham Chaitanyam Satyam. This knowledge we have to get, right? So, this Mithya Jagat cannot touch me. All their guna, doshas and all, even a little bit, it will not have any connection with me. So this adhyasa guna doshas will not affect us. So the second phase of this inquiry, which is Chaitanya Rupena Aham Brahmasmi, Jagat Karanam Asmi, Aham Satyam Asmi, Karya Rupam Jagat Mithya Asti. This knowledge, the essence of this sloka is this. Okay. Now let us see the meaning of word meaning. Nikhilopadhi Nishidhya. Nikhila Upadhis. All Upadhis, right? We can call it Panchakosha or Sharira Trayam, all these Upadhis. Nishidhya. Nishidhya means negating. Negating does not mean destruction. It means cognitively negating. Atma buddhim tyaktva in these upadhis. Okay. By what? This is not me, this is not me. That is negation. Neti, neti is what he says in the sloka. So it's purely an intellectual job because the confusion is where it is in the intellect, not in the body, mind or Atma. There is a body-mind complex, there is a Atma, but where we are mixing up this is in the intellect. So the confusion is in the intellect. Therefore, since it's an intellectual problem, the negation of the Anatma is also an intellectual job. And how this is to be done? Neti neti vakyataha, he says, right? And the Upanishads, they themselves actually help us in this. They say, nastulam, na anuhu, na hrasvam, na dhirgham, all these, anoraniyan, mahato mahiyan, all these explanations are given in the Upanishads itself, right? So, sa esha atma neti neti, this very expression neti neti itself is there in actually Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In fact, it occurs twice, 2 times. And the commentators say, first time it is said to remove the samashti prapancha, and second time it is said to remove the vyashti prapancha. These 2 times neti neti appearing in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, right? And just before this in Brihadaranyaka, the topic is called Murta Amurta Brahmana. So Murta Prapancha negation one neti neti. Amurta Prapancha negation another neti. That's okay. So both the manifest universe and the unmanifest universe. Murta Amurta means manifest and unmanifest. Both are negated. So once the Anatma is negated, what is left out? Only I, the Atma, is left out. Nothing else is there. That is Tvam. That is the Tvam-pada Vachyam is gone. Now Tvam-pada Lakshyam has come. We have come to the Tvam-pada Lakshyam. Saguna Chaitanyam is Tvam-pada Vachyartha hai. Nirguna Chaitanyam is Tvam-pada Lakshyartha. All that we saw Lakshyartha, Vachyartha, and now Tattva Bodha itself. So similarly, what is Brahman, Paramatma? Paramatma also is Nirguna Chaitanyam. I am also Nirguna Chaitanyam. Therefore, both I and Paramatma are one and the same. So Jivatma Paramamatmanaha Atmanoho Aikyam Vidya, says Adishankara. One should know the identity between Jivatma and Paramatma. How? Mahavakyehi, by the Mahavakya Upadesha of the teacher, like Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Atma Brahma. So many Mahavakyams are there. These are only 4 Mahavakyams which are shown as a sample. Upanishads contain hundreds of Mahavakyams like that. Mahavakyams are the message of the Upanishad. Time and again they are repeated, right? So, through them, this identity of between Brahma and Aham, the oneness of Brahma and Aham, the oneness of Tat and Tvam has to be known. Okay. And only after this is known, as I said, Advaitam will come. Till then, we are still in Dvaita Prapancha only. Only when we know Aham Jagat Karanam Brahma and the whole Anatma is a Karyam, Tannashe Sati Kevalaha, we said earlier, that Kevalatvam will come, Kaivalyam will come, and we can enjoy the Kaivalya Navanitam. That is what is this sloka say. Okay. We'll go to the next sloka. Sloka 31. Avidyakam shariradi drishyam buddhavacharam etat vilakshanam vidyat aham brahmeti nirmalam. Same idea he is continuing. Shankaracharya, if he picks up one idea, you would have observed, a few slokas he will devote to that idea. And he will try to explain that idea through different words, to different examples. He's not going to say something once and then go away, right? Because he said, Guru, great teacher. That is what a great teacher does. Till the most slow student understands, till he is able to carry along the weakest student in the class, a teacher will not give up. He will continue to repeat the same thing again and again and again. Because he is a compassionate person. He is not a competitor here. He doesn't say, okay, all good A grades, I will treat them separately. I will teach them very quickly, and others let them, it's okay. If not this Janma, next Janma. A Guru will never say that. A Guru is attempting to make sure that every student is given attention to and he is treated equally. And the Guru knows very well that there are some students who are very quick in catching whatever is said, and some students are there, they are slow. So Shankaracharya, being a very compassionate Guru, he will repeat the same message 2 slokas, 3 slokas, 4 slokas. Sometimes he will take 20 slokas to repeat the same message. Because intuitively he knows that these certain concepts are not very easy to understand. For example, this Aikyam itself, you may understand everything up to Atma, Anatma, everything, Jagan, Mithya, also you will understand. But you will not be able to make a connection between all this, mainly because you are still having the problem of misconception and self-ignorance. Self-misconception and self-ignorance. And that will not go away unless you are able to get into the Nididhyasanam stage. We have not even reached the Mananam stage now. Because in Shravanam, we have heard that this is Atma, this is Anatma, the Atma is different from Anatma, there is something called Aikyam, Aham Brahmasmi, all that knowledge we have got in Shravanam. Right? Now question is, how do I know that knowledge is the valid knowledge? Answer will be, Shruti is Pramana. Means of knowledge. So Shruti is saying, so you have to accept it. I will say, why should I accept Shruti? I have got my intellect. Let me apply my reasoning and find out whether what Shruti is saying is right or wrong. First of all, whether Shruti is saying what you are saying, even assuming Shruti is saying what you are saying, whether it is correct or not, whether it appeals to my intellect or not. This will be a question of any reasonable person. That's why I keep repeating, saying that in our this thing, nothing is to be believed. You can start with the belief. But you have to inquire. It's our culture is a culture of inquiry, questioning and answering. That's why the entire scriptures are in question answer form. Guru Shishya Samvada hai. Krishna Arjuna Samvada hai. Everything is Samvada. Many times the Guru will know what questions Shishya will have, and he may himself, like Adi Shankara does in his Bhashya. Many times he will himself raise the question which is there in our mind and he will answer it. But the Mananam stage is meant for that only. To raising all questions and then getting them answers and getting convinced. Nissamshaya Jnanam. You get Jnanam in Shravanam. Nissamshaya Jnanam you get in Mananam. Jnana Nishta you get in Nididhyasa. This is the 3 stages we have to understand. So we are still in the Shravanam stage only. We have not even got to the Mananam stage. So how can you expect anybody to understand, oh, Shankaracharya has said, Aikyam, Aham Brahmasmi, oh, it's all okay, fine. Will we swallow it like that? Nobody, no reasonable person will swallow it. That is why Shankaracharya has written so many things. He writes Atma Bodha, he writes Viveka Chudamani, so many things. Again and again, if you look at it, Atma Bodha may be 68 verses. With each of these topics, like you talk about Tatpada Vichara, Tompada Vichara, Aikya Vichara and all that, maybe few shlokas. Same thing in Viveka Chudamani will be in few scores of slokas. He will expand this to more number of slokas, 580 slokas or something like that. I don't know the exact number. But what is the content of Vivek Chudamani? Nothing but what he says in Atma Bodha. But in a very elaborate, more elaborate. So this is what we have to understand, that why is Shankaracharya repeating the same thing again and again. If you have a question, the answer is this. Not everybody will first of all understand what has been said. Even if they understand, they will not accept what has been said. So the message has got to be repeated again and again and again, like exactly what we do with our children. Your child is doing something which it is not supposed to do, and you tell the child once, don't do it. Will the child stop doing it? No. He will again do it. Again you tell him, don't do it. In different ways you will tell him. Samagana, Beda, Danda, you will use all that, isn't it? Shankaracharya doesn't use all that. He is only doing Samagana. So, the point is, messages will appear to be same, but there is a purpose behind that why Shankaracharya is doing. Okay. So, as I said in this sloka, the 31st sloka, the same idea is repeated. There he said, Nikhilopadhi Nishidhya. Here he is saying, Drishyam Nishidhya. That's all. There, Upadhi, he said, here he is calling them Drishyam. We have seen in the earlier sloka, Drik Drishya Vivek. Right? So, Drishyam means what? The object of experience. That is Drishyam. And every Drishyam is avidyakam, right? That is avidya janyam. And what avidya? Mula avidya, maya, prakriti, we have seen all this, right? So the stula prapancham is maya janyam. Sukshma prapancham is also maya janyam. Stula shariram is maya janyam. Sukshma shariram is maya janyam. So yad drishyam tat sarvam api maya janyam eva. That is the what we have to understand. Whatever we are experiencing is maya janyam only. That's why I don't experience myself, because I cannot experience myself. Why? I am not an object. I am the subject. I am the experiencer. How can the experiencer experience himself? I am the subject, everything is the object, I am the experiencer, everything is the experienced, I am the drik, everything else is drishyam, experienced. No, he said that experienced nishidhya, that is what he says, right? So, shariram drishya, shariradi drishyam, he says. So, shariram is drishyam and adi padat, we can include everything. That is Sharira, Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, everything we can. Shariradi, when he says, we can include all of them. Right? Not only they are Drishyam, they are Avidyakam, born out of Maya. And not only that, they are Budbudavat Budbudavat Charam. Right? Budbudavat Charam. The perishable. Like what? Like Budbuda, bubbles. This example he had quoted once earlier also. Right? So what I am etat vilakshanam. I am not avidyajanyam. I am avidyayam adhishtanam. I am not charam. I am aksharam. I am not drishyam. I am drik. I am not shariram, which is avidyajanyam. I am chaitanyam. Nirmalam Brahma. Iti Vidyat, he says. This Drik Rupa Aham and Brahman. And this word Brahman is the Tatpada Artha. Yeah, he has not discussed Tatpada Artham in this sloka. But we had a detailed, we have seen a detailed discussion in the earlier sloka, in the initial stages, I think 8, 9, 10 slokas there, right? So it will be better if we little bit recollect what we discussed there and which we will do in the next class. There's almost a time now. We will close. 1 second. Yeah, we can do it in the. Or let me just two minutes I will take and finish it. Okay. So in this sloka, the Prathamika Dhyasa was pointed out. In the 8 and 9 slokas, I'm talking about, right? That Vishnu, Parameshwara, Nityam, Upadana Karanam, all these words we saw that, right? So they were all used to describe Brahman there. So we need to carefully note that Brahman here refers to the explanation given in those slokas. So we have to recollect all that definitions. So what type of Brahman it is? Nirmalam Brahma, he says, which is free from all impurities. And what is the fundamental impurity? That also we have seen avidya or maya. So I am free from not only maya karyam, I am free from maya also. Right? So in Viveka Chudamani, Adi Shankara says, I am maya karyam, neither I am maya karyam nor I am maya itself. I am adhishthanam, uttama purusha hai, maya is akshara purusha hai, maya karyam is kshara purusha hai. So I am beyond akshara and kshara. Why? I am the adhishthanam of both kshara and I am akshara. Right? So I am uttama purusha hai. And uttama purusha in Sanskrit is what? Aham. Pratama vibhakti ekavachana. Aham. So I am uttama purusha hai. I am neither kshara purusha hai, not akshara purusha hai. That is what we have to understand. Okay, we will stop here. I'll say the prayers, and if anybody wants to ask any questions, you can ask. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. Any questions?
Aksharam Janale. Sharam Aksharam Uttama Purushaha.
I
remembered Bhagavad Gita. Aham Sharad Aksharadapi Uttamaha.
Ada, same thing. Same thing is here. I am neither Charam nor Aksharam, I am Uttama.
Uttama Purusha.
Uttama Purusha.
Sharad Adido Aksharadapi Uttamaha.
Yes. So I am different from Charam and Aksharam. Exactly, because I am different from even unmanifest. Because when the whole prapancha becomes unmanifest, abhyakta, rupa in pralaya, at that time also Chaitanyam is different only.
Yes.
That is the message. So we have to understand, I always exist, I am eternal.
Purushottama Yogam.
Nama. Okay.
Very good.
Anything else? Otherwise, we will meet on next Tuesday. Okay? So no more questions. Hari Om then. Thank you.
Hari Om. Namaste. Dhanyawad.
Dhanyawad.